Welcome to podcast number 3 for Tuxedo Cat Productions. My name is Caitlin Wiley, and I am joined with a very, very special and beloved friend, Jane Ritz of JaneTheGuide.com. Say hello.
Hello.
Hello again. So today is episode 3 of this awesome podcast that we have created, and I'd like to go ahead and say that these Friday podcasts are going to be a sort of unloading of the week's events, the processing of all the maybe the negatives that we go through as creative people. And with Jane here, she'll be adding her experiences with us. So we both had two things that happened to us this week that both include patience, and so I'd like today's theme to be about patience. It's hard sometimes when you really want justice or swift actions or immediate, but patience is something that can save you. And so how do we practice patience? How do we identify patience? How do we become more patient people in general? So I'm going to start off with Jane. Jane posted something on her Instagram where she was talking about an experience that she went through, and she wanted to offer to us that, hey, this happened to me, and I'm using patience to get through it. Jane, it didn't look like you were having a good time. You were struggling. Do you want to explain a little bit about the story and maybe what you were going through?
Definitely, yes. So the completely short and abridged version of what happened was I had a housemate, and she abruptly left and owes me money. And there's definitely more to it, where she's broke things in the house. She poured salt all over one of the rooms. Told a group of people that she was fearing for her life, her well-being. Thought that I was going to murder her and hide her body.
Oh, so she had a lot of anxiety, and
Yeah.
and so probably there was just a space of just things weren't flowing smoothly between you and her.
No, it was like a flip switched. She switched to flip. It was like all good, all good, all good, all good, flip. And then so she left, and I was so I've been requesting this money from her, and the last request that I sent was met with don't bullshit me, I will block you. And I'm like, you don't, can you just
So yeah, a lot of negative.
Yeah, definitely being met with aggressive behavior, and just not being met with compassion nor kindness, nothing fluid, nothing communicative, and that's just not congruent with the way that I am. So it's like, I'm like, okay, I could totally flip my gasket and maybe swallow it and like have a heart attack feeling, because I just feel like it's like either
so
the pressure,
internalizing it and keeping it and within just to save face.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, like that's not, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I'm communicating still, standing up for myself, which I'll get back to that, but to me that's like putting up boundaries, right? And which I define boundaries as grace. I define grace as boundaries, and also being compassionate for myself and for her, and not being aggressive and like, you have to give me my money. However, saying like, hey, love you, mean it, I'm compassionate, I get where you're coming from. However, I request this money by this date, by this time, period. And finding that balance so that I don't blow my own gasket and hurt my own physical body, and honor my body by still like letting it out with a kind of kindness and compassion.
How so?
Breathing.
Tell me. How do you? So you're experiencing some anxiety. How do you?
Yeah. So I for real breathe. Like I will pause and I will take like 3 solid deep breaths, and remember that it's just now, and we're all humans, and this person is a reflection of me. She's a sister. She's a human sister. So if I want to be treated in any way, then I get to be that, express that, share that, you know. And so here she is. She's another human. She's a sister. She's a reflection of me. So if I were, it's almost like looking at a younger version of myself and how would I want to have been treated. compared to maybe how I outwardly used to treat others.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Well, you're using your experience from your past and this and using it in this experience to maybe aid you to be able to deal with it or handle it better because you have an empathy, because you have the experience of going through something similar. So now that that time has come back again, that experience that you have to go through, maybe you pull the tools from the past.
Yeah, and the tools of the past that like I wish I had, but I didn't know I needed them.
Oh man, yeah. So that's good. Tools from the past.
Yeah, I feel like the tools from the past that I used to use were like aggression. First of all, first and foremost, I was really good at being aggressive, like just blowing up, yelling, not listening.
Are those tools?
They were tools to distract from the frustration and anger and feeling like I didn't matter enough back then. And now it's like, oh no, I do matter, and what I say deserves to be heard because I'm a human.
Man, how'd you get there? You weren't there and now you're there?
Oh yeah, totally. I used to be a totally different person than who I am now.
Man, that's all right. Well, sorry to keep going.
No, that's okay. On which part?
I know I totally interrupted you there. We were talking about tools from the past.
Okay, yeah. So the tools from the past that I used to have were just like super aggressive, super rigid. Like this way is the only way, period. And then, so now the tools are a lot more fluid, a lot more compassionate, a lot more forgiving and accepting, and remembering to still be focused and having the boundaries and saying no or yes.
Was there a struggle to, it wasn't easy, I'm sure. Can you explain the struggle of how you went from this is how I react with aggression and now I'm having some patience to be present in the moment, to think about the other person, think about me, think about things I haven't thought about instead of reacting quickly? I'm sure there's a story behind how you achieved that sort of grace.
So after going from that place of super aggressive, then my entire world around me and my body quit, gave out, shifted, crumbled, broke, left me. And so in that time when I got to learn what being humble was and what compassion and actual love was, then everything was super okay for me. You know, if you cut me off, I'd be like, oh my gosh, that was just an aspect of me that cut me off. Whatever. And super easy peasy, super fluid, super light about it. To the point where I was being perceived as like, I don't know, doormat. So it was like I went from like super aggressive, no one wanted to get near me, to doormat when everyone walked all over me. So now, where I am now is combining what works well in a one nugget of me dance. So it's definitely not been, I was going to say it's not been easy. And it's not been comfortable in my changes. Because, when I was aggressive, I had a lot of other friends that were friends with me that were also mutually aggressive. And we were so kind to each other. And then when I was like super doormat USA, I had all these other friends that were also super doormat USA. And so we were able to just like snuggle up with each other. And so every time I shift and grow, it's like all those friends leave. And then I get to redefine who I am, get new friends, I shift. Some of those friends totally leave. And then I shift, get new friends. And now I'm more comfortable with shifting, not having an attachment to these friendships, knowing that more and better friendships come to me because of these shifts. And so when I say like it hasn't been easy, because I can see all the friendships that I lost, if you will. And then on the other hand, I'm like, oh my God, but that's okay. Like, because the friends that I've gained, whoa, astronomically profound for like a fulfilling friendship life. So it hasn't been easy, and on the other hand, it has been so easy. Because it's like nature plucked out the people that weren't of service to me, and that I was no longer in service for.
Like cut out the fat. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So the patience of, there, I'm sure we all have some sort of experience in our life when we gave our trust to someone and gave someone money. Hey, I want to help you out. I feel for you. I have the money, you don't. We're friends. You asked me for help, or maybe you didn't. I want to help you. Here's the money. I trust you to return the same trust. Now, I feel like being deceived or betrayed or lied to, I mean, these are very huge hurts to our ego, because maybe we think, man, am I stupid enough to be tricked, or I'm stupid enough to trust. And sadly, I feel like that's, if you don't process these things, being betrayed, that you become a cynical person, and you start to see things as negative, and everything's always going to happen poorly. But the patience to go through those moments where you have the anger, that, or whatever reaction that comes out of being betrayed. For me, it definitely would be anger. Anger would do nothing but throw fuel on the fire. So patience is a nice, calming, let's just slow down, let's just think about it, one little thing at a time. Man, I know for me that has been a journey of awareness, because I, for the longest time I would react. This is how I feel. I'm going to say how I feel. I'm going to react. It's going to be negative. It's going to be honest. This is who I am. I mean, the majority of the cases I tried to fight, even though the truth I was speaking was a truth. Hey, I feel this way. The way I responded with anger and without patience completely negated the validity of my argument. And so patience has really served me, but getting it has been, I don't mean to hog the mic, but may I go into my story, and then we can go back and forth. So I believe that the patience that I have found as a human being, it has happened because of crisis, or huge negative things that have knocked me on my face. Like, I was high in the sky, flew too close to the sun, and my wings melted, and I crashed and burned. And it's an awful feeling, but I'll tell you what, I thank my lucky stars, because it is a humbling feeling. And just today, what happened to me, I was working on an art project. I'm working on a whole bunch of paints. Everything was wet. I normally don't like to stop and answer phone calls or anything, but I had to go to the bathroom. When nature calls, man, nature calls. So my bathroom is outside of my studio, and I didn't think to grab my phone or my keys or my computer, and I ran out to the bathroom, did the thing, went back, and I had closed the door to my studio, and it was locked. So here I am in this situation where everything I own is on the other side of this barrier, and I myself have put myself in this situation where I didn't think ahead. I didn't grab my keys. I didn't have another key prepared. Here I am outside my door, outside my studio, no keys, no phone, no computer. I have no way of contacting anyone. What do? I started to get frustrated, anxious, because now I got to find a way in, and all this time is going to be wasted, and all these thoughts like hit me all at once, that my day's ruined. I hate everybody. I hate Trump. I hate people who like Trump, and all these negative things came into my mind that made no sense. But the fact that I was just angry for this situation, I started to get angry at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew I needed to just chill out. I managed to get someone's phone, call the one number I knew, and I had someone save me. My boyfriend was calling on his behalf and taking care of my situation. But meanwhile, I'm just sitting outside of my studio like, there ain't nothing I can do. I can't call anyone. I can't Instagram, which is what I usually do when I need to fill my time. I'm just sitting at the top of the stairs like I could be freaking out and having an awful time right now, thinking all these negative thoughts that don't serve me. But the quiet moment and the present mindfulness of sitting on those stairs and contemplating my current situation was, I'm not going to let this happen again. Here's a new tool. Make another key. Put it somewhere. Here's a new tool. Make friends with all the neighbors around. Maybe if I trust one, give them a key. Here's a new tool. Don't go to the bathroom without your phone. I mean, there's all these lessons that I could have ignored if I didn't have the patience to hear them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and excuse me, like you were saying, when all this happened, you have these emotions light, frustration, fear, anger, just like all these feelings. And they totally ignited this thought process, like all these thoughts of, I hate this, I don't like that, this isn't right, this isn't good. And it ignited all of these thoughts. And I think what you shared is like one of the key aspects to humaning 101 that we're not taught. You have a condition outside of us, and it sparks feelings and emotions and thoughts. And we've been taught to sit in that, hover over it, pick it apart, dissect it, eat it, stuff it down, do something with it, as opposed to just transmuting it. Just saying, okay, you know what? Well, I'm here now. This is where I am, and this is exactly where I am in this moment. Okay, well, what can I do? Well, I can create tools for next time, which probably means that like next time will never happen. However, if it does, it doesn't spark those negative thoughts anymore. So just by you having that experience and you transmuting and shifting your thoughts and your emotions, cultivating patience in that space, when anything does happen that incites those emotions or thoughts again, your instant reaction physiologically would be that of patience, calm, ease, fluidity, things of that nature, because you just reconditioned yourself today. Thank you. From another human. Good job, Caitlin.
Well,
seriously, that's awesome sauce.
Thanks. The person I used to be would have freaked out, I would have gone home. My whole day would have been ruined because I would have been in a negative rut. I would have you know what it feels like to have anxiety all day. I would have created that for myself because I was worrying about something I couldn't control. Here's something I can't control, getting into my studio. I cannot get in there.
Mm-hmm.
Cannot. I succumb to the reality someone else needs to let me in. So how am I going to communicate to someone who has a key? I mean, maybe it's the problem. I love solving problems. It could be the fact that I've put this positive mindset into a game, mind game. I like to, well, here's a problem. I need to solve it. Improvisation, because you need to be able to go with the flow at any moment. There's all.
You said something. So you mentioned control, and you mentioned letting it be, surrender.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So control is something that, if we don't have it, we feel like we've lost it. When we do have it, we feel like we're winning this game. And it's this condition. Control is a condition it's not even real because it's a condition. So the way I see control, to like heal through controlled conditions, or conditioned control, I should say, it's combining compassion with grace. Because to me, grace is, like I said, boundaries. So if I have grace for myself, I'm going to honor what feels good and what doesn't, what's in alignment for me and what's not. If I have grace or respect for you, I'm going to honor where you say, no, this isn't comfortable, and I'm going to honor your spaces of consent or lack thereof. Grace. Compassion is me hearing, does this feel good in my heart? Does this feel good for, you know what I mean? So I think if we can recondition our thoughts of, do I have control, do I not, how do I have control, how do I not, to where can I have this combo platter of grace and compassion? Because in that space, it's a win-win for everyone. Like the person offering it, cultivating it and honoring it for someone else, like it literally is a win-win. It's
So-
like the new up-leveled control.
Is it only a two-way street? Like if you have two people communicating, is it a two-way street? This compassion and grace, control, or what if it's just one person?
Then it still works because I'm going to dork out on physics real quick.
You do it.
Because it is a higher frequency energetically being emitted from our physiological system. So lower vibration, like negative emotions, negative stuff, fear, lack, judgment, all these things, it's a lower vibration. Higher vibrations, love, joy, excitement, eagerness, compassion, grace, do. So in that realm, if I am being compassionate and offering grace, being in a state of grace, my vibe is so high that when I walk into a room, people feel it.
Mm.
And if a grumble butt walks in and like judgment and control, people are going to notice it, but the grumble butt's not going to take over the room unless they start getting loud about it, not honoring anyone else's personal space, being aggressive, and look at me, I'm a grumble butt. And then it becomes just like the sound waves take over the space.
Mm-hmm.
So when I am, for example, in a space of compassion and grace, I will innately affect those around me so that it is inspiration through physics.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, you may come in and be neutral, and you're just going to feel more comfortable around me. You don't feel the need for control or whatever. And so then you're going to start to sit in this space of just, maybe not compassion and grace, but you may just be sitting in a space of ease. And then a third person walks in. They're going to feel this really easy peasy vibe, and they might feel really joyful.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like we're really spreading an energetic culture out as we keep kind of being that. So yeah.
Well, so I like where we've gone with this, with talking about control, because I feel like I witness in myself and currently I see it in others just because I've been so mindful of my experiences. Man, when I see other people, when they interact and there's clearly one person who is really controlling, and I mean, I say this without judgment because I know I can do it, just like anyone else, and I don't know everyone's story, but from my perception, when you look at someone and they're trying to control how you're painting or what you're writing about, or hey, you shouldn't post this, you should post more about this.
The expression of you.
Yeah, someone who comes in and who's trying to tell you how to do you because they want to control you. Man, that I can see that going two ways. Obviously, I'm either gonna go total ape and hate you and yell at you because, hey, know your role, stay in your lane, control pants. I'm over here doing me. Stop telling me what to do. Or there's you, or the reaction is you do anything you say, I'm completely ignoring because you are a non-person right now. We are not vibing together. You are not affecting me. I am on my path, and you're trying to control what I'm doing. The person who is in control, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase. So the issue that I want to talk about there is when I see other people doing that, I can see and feel them struggling.
Right? Because as soon as someone's like trying to control, like don't do this and don't do that, like I need to tell you you need to be you this way. You can see and feel like their own internal angst, because we get to remind ourselves that every single thing that we do is a direct expression and reflection of how we feel about ourselves on the inside.
Well, how come the other person who's having control issues is not witnessing me like, oh my God, y'all, you have some issues you're clearly going through. How do they not pick up on what do I have to say it outright? And oh my God, if I say it enough, hey, mister, stop controlling me. Oh man,
right. That's a whole
wait
other
for the
can of
wave,
worms.
wait for it. I mean, what do you have to say about that? Like, if I'm looking at someone and it's a direct reflection of myself, and I see you have some issues. You're clearly trying to control everything about what I'm doing, and it has nothing to do with me. It has everything to do with you. How does that person not see how I'm reacting?
Right? Because because the way they look at themselves in a mirror, right? When they look at who they are in this world, they are feeling the flailing nature of losing control. They're the ones who, just for this example of the controllers, right? So, I personally, I used to be super controlling. If it had to be this way, it had to be clean this way,
Me too.
everything had to be put this way, and it was because I was so on the brink of just losing my shit on the inside. Totally just like about to lose my shit. And so now when I see someone that is an aspect of me wearing my controlling outfit,
I like that.
I can look at them and be like, I remember wearing that. I remember how uncomfortable it was. I remember how tight it was. Now I can tell you how much you need to take it off. That doesn't sit well. I can ignore them. That doesn't feel good for them. I can love them like I wasn't loved in that space that I had on that outfit.
Amen. I hope y'all heard that. Replay, wind it back.
Take that, rewind it back. Luda.
Giving them the love that you didn't receive when you went through it the first time. Oh my God. That is the answer. And that you have to live it to have that perspective. Empathy, compassion, knowing that the other person suffers just like you.
Yeah.
And you can see the signs of a previous suffering that you've been through. The best thing we can do as humans, as creatives, as people who, as teachers of emotional intelligence, is to grant that person what you weren't given.
So this is a nugget. Okay, here we are. We're creators, we're creatives. Okay? So now we know that for this controlling person wearing their controlling suit of uncomfortable, ugly outfit, we get to creatively express, share, show, and flow love onto and unto them. We get to figure out how to do that creatively. Because if we go up to them and look at them and square in the eyes and say, and I still love you. Some of them, they may actually feel that and weep. Some of them may punch you in the face. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Like, truly, anything. So then we get to pause and remember that, like, baseline human is love. Like, that's the baseline of all life. So it's like when we can start to feel that love and, like, really, truly feel it, not just say, okay, I gotta love them. Whatever, I'm gonna love you, controlling outfit person. But, like, stop, pause, take a breath, tap back into the patience and look at them with love until you feel love for that human being, that suffering child in an adult body. As soon as that love starts to be felt within the witnesser, me, then I will receive an inspiration on how to show love to them, which may just mean I stand in silence, which may mean that I walk behind them and pat them on the back and say, thank you for being here. Or, man, you've come so far. I love where you are now. Whatever that is, we receive the inspiration when we are, like, in the vibration of like, love. So I feel like that's, like, super duper superpower in the humaning and healing others without having to tell a controller that they have to change, they must change. Otherwise, I can't handle you, because then I just become a controller again.
Yeah, I through my journey, I've always been a performer, entertainer. I am in front of other people. That's where I like to be. I definitely have felt the controlling aspect of things. And hey, everyone, come to my show. Hey, everyone, come see my art. Hey, come to me and see what I want you to make the effort to come to me. And then when they didn't come to me, negative feelings of I suck, they hate me, this, that, and the other. Well, that was my rationalization of a control of, hey, I want y'all to be here. But what I've realized for my own mental sanity, because I don't want to put myself in this negative place, I accept that I am putting myself out there for people to come see and visit and appreciate, and that's it. and whether people come or not is not the point at all. So I feel like that letting go of that sort of control was a huge turning point in my life, in my positive perspective. I'm doing me, and whether y'all want to support it or not, come or not, I got to do it. And the patience to do it, and to not be affected by what others think, and the controlling aspect of I have a vision and it has to be what it has to be. The serenity now of letting go, and the patience to see that, and the experience, and using all the tools of all the shit I've been through, and the fights I've been through, and the agony I've put myself through because I didn't get what I wanted. All that suffering. I've lost a lot of friends, I've lost a few jobs, opportunities, all that suffering. I'm so grateful for those tools, because like we were talking about, now I can have the examples of love for the controlling person, which I would love us to go into. How do you have these? What are examples of love? For me, what I would have liked, man, I would have liked, you don't have to come to my show. I would have liked a loving response to say, hey, good luck today. I see you got something, good luck. Or, hey, good job. But these are just examples that I can offer that I would have liked as examples of love. If anyone's thinking, what do I do if I see someone having a tough time? What do you think of that? Like your perspective?
I think that to pause and ask someone is, to me, showing one of the biggest expressions of love. So say you have a show and you invite me and I can't make it. I could just let it be and show you nothing, and that's what sucks. That's what sucks for you. It's wow, nobody right?
Yeah. So that's my struggle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me to show it would literally just to be present enough with me and reach out to you and say, I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, or I can or I can't, whatever. And I want to support you. Other than sending my love from where I am, how else can I support you? And I think asking that, just asking someone, what can I do to support you?
That's great. Yeah. I mean, because I've never thought hey, how can I help you, other than, if my boyfriend's having a tough day, how can I help you, today? That's as far as I've ever asked someone if they need help. So it's probably good to remind myself to ask, make the first step.
If someone is in that controlling space and they're in their freak out mode, hey, I know that you want to have things just so because you have such a clear vision. How can I support your vision?
And the other thing is not everyone's going to be thinking about me, right? Not everyone's going to be thinking about you. Not everyone's going to be thinking about someone other than themselves. So clearly my POV is coming from what I wish and what I identify as controlling behaviors and loving examples. So anyone listening, and even you, may have completely different definitions for what they find controlling and loving examples. I wouldn't want to put the pressure on everyone else. If you want to be my friend, you need to be giving me love and examples, which I know there's a compassion for yourself where you should demand to be around people who do that for you, just for your own, this is the world I'm creating for myself. I'm around people who give me what I need in my love language, my love examples. But I definitely don't want to live a life of demanding that, hey, if you want to benefit me, you need to be doing these things. I don't want to put that pressure on myself, because other people are doing their thing. They're living their lives on their paths. They're not looking at me. If they look at me, then their path was directly in front of me, and then they got a brief glimpse. But I can't expect everybody to be doing what I want them to do. So the patience to know that everyone is doing their own thing, and that it's not a personal attack or whatever issues I might have, which I might find something to be a personal attack. I need to find a way to get over it and show the loving examples of, hey, I'm not going to create something out of nothing. I'm going to show you an example of love by knowing that you meant well and that you're just doing other things. You're busy. So, I mean, I wanted to say that because even though I still would like to be around people who show me these examples of love, I don't want to put that pressure on everyone I meet to honor that, because that's unrealistic.
Well, yeah, and they say, you be the change you want to see in the world. You be the change, you be the change, be the change, which means, if I want people to come to my events, I get to be someone that goes to events.
Yeah.
And I am like clicking this in big for me personally, like in my recent nows, because I want all these people to show up. I want all these people to show up. And because I'm so busy planning and creating and marketing and promoting and doing all this stuff for myself, that I don't allow myself. So I have this excuse of I don't have the time to go to your event and your event and your event.
Right.
So then how can I expect them to do for me?
Yeah, you're right.
So
Absolutely.
now, right? So now I'm like, okay, so I get to go and be present at the events that I'm inspired to go to, and which in turn, because whenever I'm inspired and excited and present, people join me. So now I just brought 5 people with me to the event that I went to, and that also means that the people at that event are probably going to be inspired now to come to my events and bring their friends, and then it starts to really snowball effect. And just by saying, hey, what can I do to support? Bring a friend.
Starting the conversation.
Yeah. I can't come this time. However, I have 5 friends that live down the street. Is it okay if they come and be my stand-in? Of course. And just offer these outside the box creative ways to be present, even if I am not able to be present in physical form.
Man. There's a lot that we spoke on today, and I mean, I would like to close with just coming back to patience and thinking about, I really want to reiterate the suffering that people need to go through to really understand, feel, and empathize with patients, the ability to turn off your anxiety and your worried and to stay focused on the bigger picture, what really matters. I don't think it's something that people get overnight. I think it's something people have to actively choose to have, and I think people just starting out need to be very forgiving of themselves, because I'm 34 years old. I know my whole life I've had anxiety and anger issues my whole life. Just that feeling of, man, I'm angry, and I am a quick fuse and quick to react. But I'm improv. I'm go with the flow. That is my persona. So of course, if I allow, it will move into my anger reactionary zone. But the patience is really a tool that suffering has welded into this, this ergonomic key that can, if used correctly, I can, unlock any situation. How, in this closing statement, is there any advice you might be able to get on how can we begin this discovering of our patients?
I love that you took it back to the key, which is exactly where you began, with the patience and not having the key to get into the studio.
Oh, God.
That was so beautifully
Look at
circled
that.
back around. Like, that was so perfect. Shazam. So
shit's getting crazy.
Right? I love it. So I think, yes. So to start off, right? Again, becoming present, taking a breath. I'm always like, become present, take a breath, become present, take a breath. No, but for real, do it again. Because when we are looking at any one situation and we're starting to lose patience in the way they are acting, thinking, saying, whatever, it's because we think that they should be doing something in a faster, different timeline. And that's not honoring the fact that they are on their own timeline. They may not be in a space to let go of control because maybe they're dealing with depression. Maybe they're trying to find joy and control is not going to be met yet. Or maybe they're trying to find acceptance for reality, and until then, they might be really off the charts in another area. So
Mm-hmm.
being patient with where every other human is on their timeline of their own personal growth and development, and remembering that maybe I've been there before, and I got out of my timeline, and honoring not only their timeline, but also having appreciation for the fact that I no longer am in that timeline, and that I'm really grateful that they're still in it to remind me of how far I've come. Thank you for still suffering, because in your suffering, you just reminded me of how far I've come, and now I'm going to cultivate more patience. Thank you for your crazy controlling behaviors. So now I have gratitude, patience, presence, and love for this person who is really dealing in their own shitstorm, so that I can be the most human I can be.
Amen to that. I feel like this is a gospel show today, talking about patience.
It's a virtue.
Holy cow. Well, I mean, so this is episode 3. The first episode we started a few weeks ago, doing it wrong, recorded on my computer. Here we are, finally got the mics to work. We are learning every time we do this. We're doing a little better. I got a little bit better cadence going on. I'm feeling it. So this is episode 3, everyone, of Tuxedo Cat Productions. We're talking about creativity training, and today's episode was about patience. And please stay tuned. We're here in Concord, downtown Concord, North Carolina, little small city just north of Charlotte, doing great things, small town atmosphere. We're coming from the HB5 podcast studio. Thank you all so much, and stay tuned next week. Bye, Jane.
Bye.